a man like this comes along once every century if we're lucky. We've got him now. He's on fire, and I'm a huge supporter. Want to see him again in 2028.
And obviously, anybody who doesn't like what you say but judges it as a function of a lack of intelligence doesn't know anything about you. I don't make that mistake. You're a smart guy. You know he's term limited. How do you think he gets another term?
We're working on it. I think we'll have a couple of alternatives. Let's say that. We'll see. We'll see what the definition. We'll see what the definition of term limit is.
All right. Well, so you're talking about litigating this issue, because I don't want people to listen to our interview and say Bannon's cooking up an insurrection. Bannon is cooking up. You know what I mean? I want people to get a straight take on where your head is. What are you suggesting?
Chris, as you know, I've had greater long shots than this. When we supported President Trump after the election, I realize you don't believe the election in 2020 was stolen. We do. We fervently believe that. When President Trump went back to Mar-a-Lago on January 20th, 2021, he was the longest of long shots to return to the White House. We said that day in our podcast and doubled down, having President Trump's back, that he was coming back not just to win the primary, he would win the White House, and we had to get organized and drive that victory, and also start working on all the policies. What's called Project 2025 or the America First Policy Institute, but all those different think tanks that started putting in the policies that you're seeing today in what we call Flood the Zone or Days of Thunder or however you want to describe it. But this is many years in the making. So we've had greater long shots than Trump 2028, and we've got a lot of stuff we're working on there. We're not prepared to talk about it publicly, but in a couple of months, I think we will be.
We got to talk about Steve Bannon, okay? Because he has absolutely broken the internet. People are going crazy. People are going crazy with what Steve Bannon recently had to say, and it's quite interesting. It is really quite interesting. Now, I will admit, well, you know, I'm not going to say that quite yet. I'll wait till you guys hear what he had to say. But, yeah, buckle up, ladies and gentlemen. Buckle up, okay? You are about to hear something that may make your jaw drop, okay? And it's really going to make the jaw drop of liberals' jaws drop. I am positive of it. Positive. So with that being said, I'm not going to bury the lead any longer. Let's dive in.
Going to get a third term. So Trump 28. Trump is going to be president in 28, and people just ought to get accommodated with that.
So what about the 22nd Amendment?
There's many different alternatives. At the appropriate time, we'll lay out what the plan is, but there's a plan. We had longer odds in 16 and longer odds in 24 than we got in 28. And President Trump will be the president of the United States, and the country needs him to be president of the United States. We have to finish what we started. Trump is a vehicle. I know this will drive you guys crazy, but he's a vehicle of divine providence. He's an instrument. He's very imperfect. He's not churchy, not particularly religious, but he's an instrument of divine will. And you can tell this of how he's pulled this off. We need him for at least one more term, right? And he'll get that in 28.
You're not driving me crazy. I'm trying to understand the coherence of the things you've just told me. On the one hand, you've said the Constitution is fit for purpose. Secondly, you've said that President Trump needs another term, even though the 22nd Amendment makes pretty clear that he cannot have another term.
Why does it make that clear?
Because he's on his second term already.
At some point in time, we will make sure we go through, Zanny, and define all those terms.
But you will be undermining the spirit of that amendment, even if you find some way around it.
If the American people, with the mechanisms we have, put Trump back in office, are the American people tearing up the Constitution? Would that be tearing up?
Well,
would the American people be going against the spirit of the Constitution, ma'am?
I think yes, actually, because I think what you will end up with is a populist justification for a quasi-dictatorship.
That's not true at all. Trump
That's what it sounds like.
Trump is a dictatorship. Did you just see the compromises he had to make on the big, beautiful bill? You see the compromises he has to do on everything, on accommodating Zelensky, on what President Trump is nothing but a series of negotiations to kind of keep this thing rolling forward, where he's having trade-offs all the time.
But Steve, you've just spent the last 20 minutes telling me we have to smash the other side. There's no room for debate. There's no room for compromise. We must smash them. And now you're telling me this is a negotiation. I mean, that's
no.
I guess that's why it seems to me some kind of tension there.
The only way President Trump wins in 2028 and continues to stay in office
is by the will of the American people, okay? And the will of the American people is what the Constitution embodies. And so I think we're going to be in good hands there. We need to finish what we started.
Yeah. Quite interesting, huh? Quite interesting. Now, this is a smart individual. Steve Bannon knows what he's doing. He knows that this was going to go viral and go all over the place, as well as maybe he actually does know a possible way that this could actually happen. I mean, it did sound like he said hold on, I want to run part of that back, because it did sound like he already figured it out. Let's go back a little bit.
Amendment.
There's many different alternatives. At the appropriate time, we'll lay out what the plan is. But there's
Bang.
the plan.
There's many different alternatives, and at the appropriate time, we'll lay out what the plan is. What the plan is? So that means that they already have it formulated, or he already has it formulated. Quite interesting. Quite interesting. Will it happen? I don't know. I guess we'll see, right? I'm not going to sit here and act like, I know it all, because I don't. Okay. I'm just the guy that talks on the internet from time to time. Okay. I have no insider information. I've never even met Uncle Trump, right? So it's not like I'm about to just break some news here, because I'm not. But y'all can let me know. What do you think? What do you think? Do you think it's going to happen? Would you be in support of it happening? Let me know. I think it's quite interesting. I also think he could be bluffing. I'm going to play this clip from Scott Adams because he perfectly lays that out as well. So check this out.
One of the things that makes a second-term president weak is that you can wait them out, right? You just wait. It's only a couple of years. We'll just wait them out. But if you raise the possibility that he might be there for a third term, maybe you don't wait him out, because he'll kick your ass when he gets that third term power. So it could be that Steve Bannon is so much smarter than us, and he's very smart, that he knows that the only way to have a really, really good second term is to tease a third term. He might be right about that, if that's what he's thinking. Again, I'm just speculating. I couldn't possibly read his mind, so I'm just guessing. But that would be pretty smart. It would be pretty smart if all he's doing is essentially putting down suppressive fire, so that Trump doesn't have let's say, a risk from behind, where they're just waiting for him to get out of office. Might be that.
I think that is a real possibility. I think that is a genuine possibility. But like I said, y'all let me know what you think about all of this in the comments. I think it's quite interesting. I think it's really quite interesting on both sides, right? To if we got to, the time 2027, 2028, or I guess it would be 27, around the time where, it's about time to leave, and Steve Bannon is like, ha, gotcha. Y'all thought we were serious, but we just wanted to make y'all relax a little bit and make sure you guys didn't just try to wait him out and, just try to stall him or anything like that. I think that'd be quite interesting. But then it'll also be interesting if he was like, no, we were actually serious, and here it is. This is completely legal because of X, Y, and Z. And everybody's like, oh, shit. He was actually serious. They actually, what? Be crazy, man. It'd be absolutely wild. And we could talk about, how 4 years possibly isn't even really long enough for a president of the United States of America. We can also talk about that aspect of it as well. I would hesitate to say that we should move to like a 5 or a 6 year term limit type of deal, but I would hate to have Democrats running this country for 6 whole years. That would be absolutely horrible. It's bad enough to have them run the country for the last 4 years, 6 years. Goodness gracious, we would still be in it, But But also at the same time, on the flip side of that, 6 years or 5 years gives presidents and, the House and the Senate time to have bills and things, legislation actually that has been passed, take hold and take effect during that president's term, So I don't know. What do y'all think? Let me know. There's so many different ways we can branch off in this conversation and things to dive into. Longer terms, whether or not Steve Bannon actually figured it out, or if this is just a joke. I don't know. Y'all let me know. Stay safe out there. Peace and love. I'm out.